Open wide. Take good care of your teeth or you'll lose them. Just like us, horses need to see a dentist to take good care of their teeth. But unlike us, they don't go to the dentist office. The dentist comes to the farm. Just like us, horses need dental checkups every 6 months. But unlike us, the dentist wears a headlamp, uses a device to hold the horse's mouth open, and puts his whole arm into the horse's mouth to check its teeth. Just like us, horses have baby teeth that they lose and then they grow permanent teeth. But unlike us, their teeth erupt throughout their lifetime and can develop sharp edges that must be filed off. Ouch! Actually, this filing down doesn't hurt them because, unlike us, they have no nerves close to the surface of their teeth. Let's take a closer look at those teeth. Just like us, horses have incisors for biting in the front of their mouths, and premolars and molars in the back for chewing. Unlike us, there's a large gap between their incisors and molars called the bars of their mouth. This is where a bit rests when you ride them. On average, horses live 20 to 30 years, and we can usually tell a horse's age by looking at the shape, angle, and appearance of its teeth. This horse was closer to 10 years old and had all of its teeth. This horse was closer to 30 years old and lost many of its teeth after they fully erupted and fell out. Let's watch now as equine dental technician Paul Drake performs a dental exam on a horse. Using a speculum to hold the horse's mouth open, he's able to put his hand in the horse's mouth, feel its teeth, and use a headlamp to look inside of its mouth to inspect its teeth. To teach us more about horses' teeth, here's Dr. Emily Olson.
Okay. My name is Dr. Emily. I'm a horse veterinarian. That means I'm a doctor for all the horses out there. And one of my favorite things to take care of on them is their teeth. So today we're going to talk about horse teeth and why they need to go see the dentist. How many times a year do you go to the dentist? It's important for horses because they have teeth that continuously erupt. What that means is horses are born with a very, very long tooth that only lives about 1 centimeter above the gum line. Over time, when horses chew, this is the bottom jaw of a horse, they chew in a circle, so their jaw moves like a motion similar to this. What that means for horses is over time, they develop sharp points that can be painful along their cheeks and along their tongue. In the wild, when they eat sand and chew on rocks and eat weeds, they wear down more naturally. But because we feed them grain and when they live in stalls all the time, we have to help them out and do what we call float their teeth or file some of those sharp points down. Let's start with how many teeth horses have. Horses have anywhere from 36 to 40 teeth in their mouth. They have cheek teeth, which live along their mandible and their upper jaw, and those teeth are responsible for grinding the feed. They also have incisors similar to us in the front of their mouth, and then male horses have 4 extra canine teeth which are used for fighting. The girls don't need this because in the wild, the boy's in charge of the herd. Let's talk about some of the equipment we use when we're floating a horse's tooth. So, in order to get the sharp edges that horses develop, we have to use some sort of file. This is the tool I use, which is called a power tool. So just like you would use a power drill or a machine when woodworking, this is a power float, meaning that I use a battery that makes this disc spin and it files the sharp edges of the tooth, similar to this. It's not very loud, so the horses tolerate it pretty easily, and we use a little bit of sedative. We also use what's called a speculum, which looks kind of big and scary, but this holds their mouth open so we can do a full exam and look at every tooth in their mouth. like to use a headstand, so looks like this, and this allows me to rest their chin so I can look in their mouth. To help me look in their mouth, I use a simple headlight. This allows me to visualize in the deep dark hole that is their mouth. And I also have this cool mirror that's similar to what your dentist uses, but it's a little bit bigger. This is a syringe that helps me flush all the feed material out of their mouth just using water, kind of like a rinse and spit at your dentist. And lastly, these are tools we would use to pull a tooth if a horse had one that had a disease or a cavity. Yep, horses get cavities just like you. Or if they're loose, we can help them out by pulling their tooth. We use these big forceps that are nice and long to reach all the way
Dr.
in the
Emily
back
typically
of their
uses power tools to float horses' teeth, which is what we call filing the horse's teeth down. Let's watch as Paul explains how he uses hand tools to float teeth.
So sometimes you do have to work on these front teeth if they're wearing abnormally, and you would use the appropriate file. In this case, it's a diamond file. Horses tolerate this really well because there's not a lot of vibration. But again, if I have like a ventral curvature looking like a smile or a dorsal curvature, you just simply go in and file down those long teeth until you get a nice horizontal line. And it might strike a lot of people as odd that you can file down horses' teeth, because of course that would destroy a human tooth. But remember, their teeth are made to constantly wear away and erupt down. So when I'm filing down these teeth, I'm actually not doing anything that doesn't happen normally when they eat.
After examining the horse's mouth, the dentist will begin to float its teeth, which is done by filing them down. Again, this does not hurt the horse because they do not have nerves in the tops of their teeth like we do.
This side's sharp, all right. It's been a while since he's been done.
Once you start doing it, he likes it.
I think today's the most fired up I remember him being.
The dentist works on both sides of the horse's mouth, being sure to file all rough edges on the fronts, backs, tops, and bottoms. Before we go any further with the dental floating, let's take a look at the tools Paul uses to care for horses' teeth. He is able to examine and work inside a horse's mouth by using a speculum to hold the mouth open while he works, and a headlamp to shine a light for better viewing. He uses a dental float, which is basically a long handle with a metal file insert to smooth off the rough and uneven edges of the horse's mouth. These come in various lengths and angles to be used in different parts of a horse's mouth. There are also other specialty tools, such as these forceps, used to remove teeth and resolve more complicated dental issues. Let's head back to the barn to see more of the dentist's work using a speculum. Once the speculum is on the horse, Paul can begin working on the molars in the back of the horse's mouth. Once again, we can hear that grating sound as he files away the rough edges of the horse's
He
teeth.
is an anomaly, though. The degree to which he settles there. But I think the first time we did him, wasn't he really sharp and cut up?
Yeah, I see that already.
Which, yeah, he fixes me. Here I'm rounding off his first bottom premolar for bit comfort. Just round it off, and now we'll come to this side. It's a bit comfort thing, so if you pull back on the bit, no, he's never moved.
Here we can see the float moving in and out of the horse's mouth. You can see that the horse does not seem to mind this, and Paul just simply moves with the horse's movements.
Alright, if I take your speculum off and do your top teeth again a little more thoroughly, are you going to be good or are you going to be an idiot again? I think you're going to be okay.
After removing the speculum, he spends a bit more time filing those last rough edges on the horse's cheek teeth. His final step is to use a special tool to smooth down the horse's canine teeth, which are located on the bars of males' mouths. We've seen Paul use all hand tools, but some horse dentists use power tools, like the ones we'll look at next. This is a power float, which is basically a metal wand with a small spinning disc on the end used to smooth horses' teeth. It is connected to a cord which goes to a battery pack, giving it the energy to spin and float the teeth. It is part of a complete set of equine dental power tools. Let's take a look as Dr. Emily uses a power float to work on a donkey's teeth. First, she'll rinse the mouth out with a giant syringe to clean it out before she begins working.
Like a saline solution or something?
It's just water.
Just water? Oh.
Next, she'll put the speculum on the donkey's mouth to examine her
If
teeth.
you actually got an abscess or, real bad teeth, you can't float them or anything.
If they get infected, we usually pull
You
them.
gotta pull them. Is that the same principle? You sedate them and all that? You can pull it right there like this?
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know if you had to be laying down or.
There are different ways to do it depending on the problem of the tooth, but grass. Buttercup has an overgrown first tooth. Just because she's got like an overbite and then she's got big ramps in the back. All right, girl.
Would that be out?
No. Good girl.
I've never seen anything like that.
It's because she has an overbite, so there's no tooth like wearing
Oh,
on it.
okay.
So we're just gonna take the pressure off the tooth below it so it's not loose. See the one in the back too? Good girl. All done.
As you can see, being a horse dentist is a very physically demanding job and is often messy. But it is an important job to help keep horses healthy. So the next time that you go to the dentist and hear "open wide," remember that we're not the only ones who need to open wide to have our teeth cared for.